Hello there and welcome. My name is Linda and welcome to my channel Linda T at Home. Really good to have your company today. If you are a regular viewer, warm welcome back, and if you're new, hello to you and I hope you'll stick around. So today's video, I haven't got anything very exciting lined up for you. But I just thought we're now on Thursday and this video should go out on Friday, tomorrow, if I press the right button this week. But I just thought I'd give you so far a rundown of my week and what I've been up to. Thank you so much for your response to my previous video, the decluttering of the airing cupboard and the sorting out of the airing cupboard and the kind of reset in my grandchildren's room. Lots of very kind comments as always, so thank you. Yeah, some of you said you were inspired to go and sort your cupboards out. I mean, the thing about sorting out cupboards is the worst part is actually getting started and thinking, right, I'm going to go there, I'm going to take the stuff out, I'm going to do it. Once you actually start, it becomes quite well, you kind of get into the flow of it and you can make order out of it quite quickly. It's just the whole thing of when I looked in the cupboard, and I don't even think that cupboard, my airing cupboard, was as bad as some cupboards can be, but you just look at it and think, oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, I'll do that next week, or when it rains I'll do it or something. But sometimes you just have to make a start, and I actually find that YouTube makes me do things because you know, there are things that you do around the house that lots of us YouTubers do that we make videos of and you enjoy, whether it's redecorating or doing the garden or, you know, just tidying stuff up, cleaning. I don't really do cleaning videos. I've thought about that, but I don't really like cleaning very much. I'd kind of do as little as I need to do. But since I've had my new floor downstairs in the hall, and I've got a new mop, I've been going mad with that. So we've got a nice clean floor down there anyway. But yeah, it's thank you so much for your kind comments, and apparently I've inspired a couple of you to do that as well. So hope it goes well for you. So my week started on obviously on Monday, and the first thing on Monday to do was to take my two little schnauzers, mini schnauzers, for their 6-monthly check. So they're quite elderly dogs. Don't worry, this video is not going to be about dogs. But so our vets gives them a twice yearly check, and the vet doesn't do it. The veterinary nurses do the check, so they just go through, you know, various things as you'd expect. They give them a little check to see if they've got any lumps or bumps or whatever, if, you know, making sure that they're going to the loo all right, they're eating and drinking all right, you know, just like with a human really, if you go to the doctors for a checkup. And I'm pleased to say that by and large they are doing quite well for 11 and just coming up. I keep saying she's just coming up to 13. Her birthday's actually in July. So for a nearly 13-year-old and an 11-year-old, they're not doing too bad at all. But one thing, I'd had my dogs groomed the week before, and I mean, I usually pride myself on noticing things with my dogs because I spend a lot of time with them. I'm with them all day, virtually every day, and you know, you're physical with them, aren't you? You stroke them and you pet them, don't you? And, you know, if anything's not feeling quite right, you tend to know, just like when you're around your children or your grandchildren. You know, nobody knows your dog like you do. And but to my not shame, that's not really the right word, but when I took them for their groom last week, and they're groomed about once every 6 to 8 weeks because they just get all curly and furry and, you know, they just don't look like schnauzers really by the end of it. And when I collected them, my dog groomer said to me that she'd noticed something on my dog Bo, that's the black schnauzer, noticed something on her, near her foot, her rear foot, paw, paw, sorry, she hasn't got feet, has she? And she said, I thought it was chewing. I might have mentioned this before, I'm not entirely sure. She said, I thought it was chewing gum, and I went to try and pull it off, and then I realised it was attached to her. So she said, you probably need to get that checked out. And I said, well, I've got the appointment coming up on Monday, so I'll ask then. So I did ask the veterinary nurse about this, and she called it I think she called it a stalk wart. Stalk, like it's like the stalk of a plant, so it kind of grows from the skin away from the skin. Wonderful description, Linda. So it's a little wart on the end of the stalk, and it does look a bit like chewing gum that's been chewed up. It's not white, but anyway, so she had a look at it and she said, I think that's what it is. She said, I don't think it's at all sinister, but it probably needs to be checked by the vet. And she said, then she looked at my dog's notes, and she noticed that she'd had some teeth out recently, and if you're one of my regular viewers, you'll know that she had 17 teeth out, poor thing, and she's recovered really well from that. And but she's got to have 2 more out at the end of this month, so we're in June now. And she said, well, maybe we could ask the vet who's doing the surgery on her teeth to remove the wart at the same time. And that the thing with this is that it's really bothering my dog. I don't think she's getting any pain or distress, but she's obviously found this thing on her foot and paw, and she keeps licking at it, and the danger is that it either starts to bleed or she chews it or something. I know, horrible. So she said maybe they'll, when they sedate her to have her teeth out, maybe they can remove it then. So that's due in about 2 weeks' time. And I said, well, that's fair enough, but I said, I can't see that they'll do that. And she said, no, I'll find out for you. So basically, long story short, she checked with the other surgery. It's the same practice, but they're on 2 sites, and one site does all the operating, surgeries. So she checked, and she very kindly rang me back later today. She said, yeah, that's fine, they'll do it. So I said, oh, that's great, but I will speak to them just to double check and, to find out how much it'll be, because she said, well, it shouldn't be too much, so that's fine. And we've already paid quite a bit of money on her teeth already, and the new surgery for the 2 teeth to come out is going to be around £520 or something like that. And so a couple of days later, I rang the vet, where their surgery takes place, and I spoke to someone there, and I said, just want to double check this will be a thing, that the 2 things can be done at the same time to stop my dog having 2 anaesthetics, and just get the thing out of the way. And she went off and checked, the lady went off and checked, and she came back and said, yes, that's it, absolutely fine. And so I said, well, could you let me know how much it's going to be? Either email me or text me or something. Let me know how much the 2 surgeries are. So she said, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine, no problem. And quite soon after I ended the call, my phone beeped, and it was an email from the vet with a download of the estimate. They call it an estimate. And I opened it and I thought, what on earth's this? So it's £1,300, and this is, from what I can understand of the listing of items, it's the removal of the teeth plus which was going to cost £520 or something, and then the balance is this wart removal, which makes it almost £800 to have this done. And I was thinking, it'll probably be, nothing, you don't get out for now, do you? I thought perhaps it'll be 200 quid or something, which is bad enough. But, because these things just are so expensive. But you know that, and you prepare yourself for it. And I thought, am I reading this right? £1,300 to have her 2 teeth out for 500 and something, and then the rest is this wart, which I've already been told is quite a simple thing to remove. So we've got to make the decision about how we go, what we do about this. Current husband rang the vets earlier today just to double check that this is right, because it does sound ridiculous. And frankly, I don't want to be spending £1,300 it's an awful lot of money to find us when we were expecting to spend 500 plus a little bit more. So I think we might have to make a decision on whether we have the teeth out on this occasion or have the wart removed. The two together just seems ridiculously expensive. Now, before you say, because I do get people say to me, oh, haven't you got insurance for your dogs? And I have, of course I have. I rarely claim anything because obviously, like any insurance, if you start making claims, it puts your premium up. And I did speak to my insurer when she had her teeth out a couple of months ago, and I said, you know, I've spent this and that, and she told me, the lady on the phone told me how much of that I would get back, which was a decent proportion of it. I have to pay 75%, the first 75%, and then she said you have to pay 20% of the remainder of the amount. I don't know if every insurer does that or if this one does, frankly. It doesn't really matter at the moment. I did look to change them to a cheaper insurer a while back, but because they're old dogs, everything's just as expensive. It's all very expensive. So then I've got to think, if I start claiming for all these additional things, I mean, we've just paid for them. We haven't stuck them on a credit card or anything. We have paid for everything so far. It's just wondering whether it's the right thing to do or what. The lady at the insurance place, well, in October when my premium is reviewed for the next year, it's going to go up anyway. So if I've made several claims, I mean, is it going to be affordable for me? Because it comes out of my money and I don't, I'm an old age pensioner. I don't have loads and loads of money. So the other thing is to potentially forget the insurance when it comes to a close at the end of September, and just put the money that I'm paying into for their insurance every month. And it comes to, I'm paying £250 for my 2 dogs, and that's their insurance and a couple of insurances for there's a sort of a club thing that the vet runs. I forget what they call it. Lots of you will probably have a similar thing where you pay an amount each month for your pet, and like things like the monthly treatments and the vet check as well. The nurse check, the 6th monthly check, you get that free. So it covers a couple of other things, but of course it doesn't end there, because there's always something else you have to buy. Or something goes wrong with them and you have to go again to the vet and pay all the so we know it's an expensive business, and of course you don't mind it because you love your animals, but it's just now it just seems to be a very expensive period of time for us with our dogs. So so they are insured and I can claim some of the money back, but I'm looking at the bigger picture. And I don't know whether to just forget the insurance and just save the money in a bank account, or where I can either earn a bit of interest or just keep it accruing value really, and then use that should the day come that we've got more and more things to pay. So so it's a bit of a dilemma. So I don't know yet whether the vet is supposed to be, the vet is supposed to be ringing us back again today to explain the estimate and see what we have to do and maybe the best way forward. I don't think I'm not going to bother with her teeth, of course I am, but it's just spreading it over a longer period of time really. But I just don't understand how this wart thing is so much money. Anyway, and on to the next day. I went to have my heart scan yesterday, and I was a bit stressed about that. Now, if you're interested in my medical matters, and some of you will be, and lots of you probably won't, probably just as interested as you are in my dog. But I've, due to having long-term palpitations that have started to get a bit worse, I've been to the doctor a few times recently, and she told me that she would send me to have a heart monitor fitted for 24 hours, which I've had done before, and it's not a problem, it's not a worry or anything. And then recently I spoke to the doctor over the phone, and she said, "Oh, have you had an appointment through for that?" And I said, "Well, I've had an appointment for a scan of my heart." And she went, I didn't ask them to do that." And then she checked on the notes and she said, "No, I didn't. I asked them to do a heart monitor scan." So I said, "Well, shall I?" So a heart monitor. So I said, "Well, shall I say, ring the hospital and say I don't need the heart scan appointment?" So she said, "Well, you might as well go." And so anyway, so I had that yesterday. And I've also since had another appointment through, and that is for having a 24-hour heart monitor fitted. So that's happening this month as well. It's all happening with me, isn't it? It's all happening with me. And I'm certainly getting my value out of the NHS at the moment, I can tell you. So I went to that yesterday, and I was a little bit stressed about the whole thing because I started overthinking and thinking, "Oh my God, what if there's something terrible wrong with me? And what or what if they pick something else up on the scan?" And because obviously they must see other bits of you as well. And I was a little bit worried about that, because you think you're jogging along in life okay, don't you? And then sometimes things come and bite you on the backside, don't they? So, of course, I wasn't overthinking this at all. So, and then I was stressed about parking at the hospital, because they've built a new multi-storey car park there. But because of the time of my appointment, I was worried that I would get a parking space, and that would all be making me flustered and anxious. And but one of my daughters came to the rescue, because she literally lives, 5 minutes from our hospital. Probably less than that in the car. And so I drove to her house, and she took me to the hospital, dropped me right outside where I needed to go, and then she was able to pick me up afterwards. So that made me arrive a little, fairly calm. But it was interesting. I don't know, I'm sure loads of you have had scans of your hearts. But you're obviously on one of those beds. Why do they put that paper on those little itty-bitty little bed things that they get big old fat ladies like me to lie on? I've never been able to get on one of those beds and not rip all the paper instantly. You might just as well just spray it with some anti-bac or whatever. I mean, just beggars belief. So anyway, I had to take my bra off, and my top and my bra. And have one of those, those gowns that they give you open at the front, and you think, oh, the indignity of it all. And but anyway, I always think they've probably seen worse than I've got, so there we are. And then I lay on the bed, and then the girl that was doing the scan came over and said, she stuck some things on me. And she said, "Oh, can you lie on your side?" So my back was kind of to her. Well, that wasn't easy, I can tell you, on this rickety little bed that wasn't. Oh, they weighed me as well when I went in there, and I thought, shall I look? Because I never looked to see how much I weigh. And I did, and I thought, oh my God. Anyway, that's another thing. But so she asked me to turn around on this bed, and they're kind of wobbly, and anyway, I lay there really uncomfortably, and then she was leaning over me with the scanner thing, and she put some stuff on it, like when you have a baby and they put that stuff on your skin, don't they, and run it all over you. And she sort of did this central part of me, and sort of round here, and then sort of round here, I mean, I never really thought about exactly where my heart was in my body. But then she was leaning over. She was leaning on me, leaning over, and then she was sort of doing all under, around my boob and under my boob. So I thought I'd just show you that. And she kept saying to me, breathe in, and then so I would, and she'd say, stop, and then relax. She must have said this 300 times. And she was ever such a sweet girl, very, very quietly spoken. And of course they turn the lights down so she can see the screen, not to make you feel comfortable. But honestly, it was so relaxing. Once I got over being in a bit of a funny position and her leaning on me, and one time she said, breathe in, and I did, and then she said, okay, and then she said something else, but no, I didn't hear her say anything else. That's right. And then she said, right, breathe in, and I said, well, I'm still holding my breath because I didn't hear her tell me to so it must have gone blue in the face. I didn't hear her tell me to breathe out, or to relax. But anyway, I lay there. I didn't say to her because I was tempted to, because she tried to make conversation with people, but I thought, don't even go down that road, Linda. And but it was almost like I imagine yoga is, sort of with breathing exercises. I know there's a bit more to yoga than that. She didn't ask me to get in the downward dog or anything, but and I thought I could just go to sleep here. It was the most relaxing thing. So and then she did around my midriff, sort of in the middle of my tummy, and then she did my neck as well. And I did ask her what that was to do with my heart, but she said it's all connected. So I don't know, but so that was quite interesting and quite relaxing. And I just hope that they haven't found anything ghastly wrong with me. I'm keeping my fingers crossed about that, so please keep your fingers crossed on my behalf as well. And then I shall look forward to the monitor thing, which is nothing much. I've had that done before, and then hopefully we can get to the bottom of what these palpitations are. Yes, it's all a bit of a nuisance. So that was yesterday, and then today I went to B&Q first thing this morning because we've had a really nice summer so far, haven't we? Or spring, summer, and we haven't had a lot of rain, but we have recently. The weather's kind of broken a bit, and we have had quite a few showers around where I live. And I thought that meant my flowers, my plants in my garden didn't really need watering, but we've also had quite a lot of wind. So do you remember the baskets I bought in Dunelm a few months ago? I showed you. I have those at the front of the house, and they'd completely dried out, and I thought they would revive, but they didn't when it rained again. So I've cleared those out. And what else is there? Oh, when I did my bike with the basket and everything on, the flowers on, they've really dried out as well. So I went out to B&Q this morning to buy some plants. I've bought three or four perennials to stop some gaps in the area where my little bird feature water thing is. And I bought a few. There wasn't very much left, which I guessed. I bought a few plants to put in the hanging baskets, and just to hopefully a couple left over just to sort of do some stop gaps. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I might go out this afternoon and do that, but it did start to spit with rain, and now the sun's out, so it's all a bit mad. I thought we were going to get storms this afternoon. By now it's Thursday, so I don't know. But I might when I've done them, maybe if I don't do it on this video, perhaps my next one I'll show you how the garden's getting on, because I've lost my salix tree. That seems to have given up, but out of everything I've replanted, most things are growing quite well out there, and I'm really pleased with the garden so far. So yeah, just need to sort of top up the flowers in the hanging baskets and in the bike. And I mean, I might not even bother with the bike. I don't know. I'll see how I feel when I get to do it. I haven't bought very much. I spent the best part of £100 though, because you just do, don't you? But I thought when I did buy 3 of them in the range, and that was because when I got to the car park, I thought, oh no, I haven't got a £1 coin for the trolley, and I'd keep my little token one in the sort of the cup holder thing next to the driver's seat, and it had disappeared, and I thought, blimmin' current husband, he's had that, and left it in the trolley or something somewhere. So all I could do was, and I had cash on me, but I didn't have any small cash, I didn't have any £1 coins or anything like that. So I went to the Range and B&Q are next to each other where I live. So I went into the Range, but outside they had quite a lot of plants. So I saw 3 plants, and I thought, well, I'll change up some of the notes I had, and then I'll have a coin to put in the trolley, so I can go in B&Q and look at their plants. But would you believe it? I didn't get any £1 coin. I got two £2 coins, but she'd shut the till, and I thought, well, I'm not going to ask her to open the till again, because they don't, do they? So that was a bit of a nuisance. So I put those plants in my car. Then I went in B&Q, and I just said to the lady on the customer service desk, can you help me with, I haven't got a £1 coin or a token. Can you tell me, can I buy one here or something? And she dug in her pocket. I thought, oh, she's not going to give me £1, but she didn't. She gave me a staff token, so she lent me that to go around the shop. So that was kind of her, I thought, and I did take that back to her at the end of the shopping. But yeah, if you don't have a token or a £1, it's a bit of a nuisance, isn't it? Anyway, that's riveting. I think that's basically all I've got to tell you about today. It's just the last couple of days in my life with the nightmare with the vet. So, like I say, keep your fingers crossed about the heart thing's going to be all right for me. And every good wish counts in my book. Yeah, we'll see what they say about this flipping doggy wart business as well, because it's proving to be an expensive week, really. Yeah, when I do the plants, I'll probably show you. I don't know if it probably won't be today, but another day. And the thing I've got to get on to do now is also I've got to do my current husband's bookwork, because it's time to get all his paperwork together for the accountant, and my bits of stuff as well. I give them my stuff as well, my information, so we're not dragged off to prison for not paying our taxes or anything. And I mean, I don't do all the all the difficult bits, because I'm just not very clever with that sort of thing. But I get all the paperwork together, and I've got a spreadsheet that I populate with invoice information and stuff, and I give it all to the accountant, and then she sorts it out and tells us if we get a refund or if we have to pay anything. So and I've got to do that, and sometimes it takes me a while. So I'm hoping that we've got a couple of things over the weekend we're busy doing, but I'm going to hope to make a start on that tomorrow and get that out of the way so I can do my videos as normal next week. But it is important I do this, just to keep things tick boxes, really. Thank you so much if you've listened to my chat today. Like I say, I'm sorry it's not very interesting, but it's just, instead of spending the day with me, you're just having a little bit of a sum up of my week so far. Have a good weekend. I think the weather's going to be nice in the UK, or at least the bit I live in anyway. It's supposed to be quite good with lots of sunshine. I think we've supposedly have some storms, but I mean, I'm looking out there, there's blue sky, there's a few clouds, but there's lovely blue sky and the sun's out. So my grandson's off on one of these, it's his last year in junior school this year, and he's gone off to somewhere near Swindon, I don't know where it is, I've forgotten, for like a camp thing, and where they're doing activities and that. So I hope he doesn't really like staying away from home, so but his mum didn't have to go and collect him or anything, so sounds like he's doing all right. But yeah, he's growing up now, and I just hope the weather's all right where he is. I mean, that's miserable, isn't it? I remember with my children when they were young, and you send them off to the school camp thing, and you have to take all sorts of towels, and that, you know, you have to take loads of stuff with you. Well, they have to take loads of stuff with them, and when they come back, you have to empty the suitcase, and it's all, you know, wet and mouldy and ugh. But he's only gone for a few days anyway, so hopefully he'll be all right as long as he keeps dry. Anyway, I'm going on now. Thank you so much for watching me. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you like listening to me. Thank you if you have. And I've had a few new subscribers, and I honestly really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I've still got a few to go. I think I must have I think I've got about 47 to go till I get to 2,000, which I've been trying to do for about a year. So it would be so good if you don't mind subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to know when my videos come up, you can press the notification thingy, bell thingy, and yeah, just come catch up with me twice a week. I put videos up on Tuesdays and Fridays, or sometimes Thursdays if I forget what day it is. So anyway, take care, thank you so much, and bye bye for now. I'm back again. I've just watched that last bit back, and the bit I said about with my dog's insurance having to pay the first 75%, I meant to say £75. So correction. So thank you. Bye. See you soon.